Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving deep into a website that you might actually find surprisingly relevant to your interests in data science.
Oh,
Yeah, it's called franksworld.com.
okay.
Now you might be thinking, wait, haven't I heard that name before? And you probably have, but not in the context that you would expect.
Hmm.
This website is packed with insights on data science, AI, and all things tech, but it actually started in a way that is totally unexpected.
Really? How so?
Well, I'm going to let our expert explain that one.
All right, so the origin story of franksworld.com is anything but typical for a tech resource.
Yeah,
Picture this. The year is 1991.
okay.
The setting is Fordham University, and a student named Frank Lavinia launches a satirical news tabloid.
Wow.
And the inspiration, none other than Wayne's World.
So not exactly the typical trajectory for a data science guru, right?
Well, not really.
I mean, it's like the digital equivalent of finding out your favorite Michelin star chef started out making prank calls on public access TV.
That's a great analogy.
And Frank's journey from college humorist to tech expert actually reveals a key insight that I think we often overlook.
What's that?
Strong communication skills are so valuable even in technical fields.
Absolutely.
So you're saying Frank's ability to explain complex ideas clearly honed through years of satire and humor became his secret weapon in data science.
Exactly. Instead of just presenting dry facts, Frank can make complex topics engaging and understandable.
That's really cool. I mean, that's a pretty incredible skill to have.
Yeah.
Okay, so the website grew up alongside Frank, evolving from college humor to serious tech content.
Right?
This brings us to Frank's own career trajectory, which, let's be honest, is pretty fascinating.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He went from being a data strategist to becoming an AI evangelist at Microsoft.
Now, that term AI evangelist might need a little clarification for some listeners.
Yeah, could you break that down a bit?
Sure. Basically, it means that Frank was focused on promoting and advocating for the use of AI technologies within Microsoft and to the wider world.
So kind of like spreading the good word of AI.
Ex-
Got it. And he's clearly someone who thrives at the intersection of technology and communication,
Mm-hmm.
which is honestly a pretty rare combination.
Very rare.
And that blend is exactly what makes franksworld.com so compelling.
I agree.
It's not just about the tech, but about how it's communicated.
Right.
Speaking of which, this brings us to the podcasts hosted on franksworld.com. Data-driven and impact quantum.
Okay.
They seem to perfectly reflect the site's mission of making complex topics approachable.
They do, and it's also important to note that these podcasts are filling a real need in the digital age.
How so?
Well, fields like data science, AI, even quantum computing are evolving so rapidly.
Yeah.
It's tough for people to keep up, and these podcasts offer a way to stay current without having to wade through mountains of technical jargon.
So it's like a more digestible way to stay informed.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But with so many podcasts out there, what makes data-driven stand out? Is it truly unique, or is it just another voice in the crowd?
Data-driven takes a very conversational approach to exploring various aspects of data science, AI, and the broader tech world. It's co-hosted by Frank and Andy Leonard, and they interview industry experts, discuss emerging trends, and do a great job of breaking down complex topics into bite-sized pieces.
So it's perfect for someone who wants to stay informed, but maybe doesn't have a PhD in machine learning.
Exactly.
Awesome. And I've actually heard some really good things about their episode on the ethics of using AI in healthcare.
Oh, yeah, me too.
They didn't shy away from the complexities and potential pitfalls,
No, they didn't.
which I think is crucial when you're discussing a topic with such far-reaching implications.
I agree.
Okay, so data-driven sounds pretty cool. Now, what about impact quantum? That sounds a bit more, well, niche, doesn't it?
It is, but it's a niche that's rapidly expanding.
I could see that.
Quantum computing is no longer a theoretical concept confined to research labs.
Right.
It's becoming a reality with potentially huge implications across various industries. And Impact Quantum is one of the few podcasts out there dedicated to explaining this complex field in a way that's accessible to a non-scientific audience.
So they're tackling the mind-bending world of quantum computing and making it understandable for the average person.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's quite an ambitious goal.
Yeah.
What kind of things do they actually discuss on the show?
They cover a wide range of topics, from the fundamental principles of quantum computing to the latest breakthroughs in research.
Okay.
They also explore the potential applications of quantum computing in various fields.
Like what?
like medicine, materials science, even finance.
Wow, that's quite a scope.
It is.
It sounds like franksworld.com is really looking toward the future of technology, not just reporting on what's happening now.
That's a great observation.
Mm.
The fact that they have a dedicated podcast for quantum computing shows how franksworld.com views the future of technology.
Yeah.
They're anticipating the trends that will shape our world and trying to make them understandable for everyone.
That's a powerful statement. So we've got franksworld.com, this website with a really quirky past,
Yeah.
evolving from a Wayne's World-inspired satire site to a platform for serious tech education.
Right.
And at the helm, we've got Frank Levine making this incredible journey from college humorist to a respected data science expert.
It really is an intriguing story, and I think what makes it even more fascinating is that it all ties back to this idea of making complex subjects approachable and engaging.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered the history, the man behind it all, and even got a taste of the podcast. But what about the website itself? What kind of content can someone expect to find on franksworld.com today?
Well, it's a multifaceted platform.
Okay.
There are in-depth blog articles that dive into specific topics within data science and AI.
Okay.
And these articles are written for a range of audiences, from beginners to seasoned professionals.
So it's not just passively consuming information, they're actually providing tools and resources to help people develop their skills and understanding.
Exactly. They've also got tutorial videos, which can be incredibly helpful for visual learners who want to see concepts explained step by step.
Makes sense.
And they even offer downloadable code samples and data sets.
Really?
So people can actually experiment and apply what they're learning.
That's a really hands-on approach.
It is.
It goes beyond just theoretical knowledge.
Right.
And of course, we can't forget about the podcasts.
Of course.
We've talked about data-driven and impact quantum, but are there any other shows or content formats that they're experimenting with?
They're always experimenting and evolving,
Okay.
which I think is crucial in the ever-changing landscape of online content.
Yeah.
Recently, they started doing live streams on various social media platforms where Frank interacts directly with the audience.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's a great way to make the content even more accessible and engage with the community in real time.
definitely.
Speaking of community, we've talked a lot about the educational aspects of franksworld.com, but does it foster a sense of community among its users?
Absolutely. franksworld.com has built a strong online community through its website, social media channels, and podcast discussions. They've created a space where people can connect with others who share their interests in data science, AI, and technology.
So it's more than just a website. It's a hub for like-minded individuals to connect, learn from each other, and maybe even collaborate on projects.
Precisely. They host online forums and discussion groups, organize meetups and workshops, and encourage collaboration among community members.
That's really quite remarkable. It's
Yeah.
amazing to see how a website that started as a college humor project
I know, it's pretty amazing.
has grown into this thriving online community with a global reach.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to Frank Levine, his passion for technology and his ability to make complex topics accessible to everyone.
That's true. But, this actually raises an important question.
What's that?
Wouldn't a background in satire make it even more challenging to gain credibility in a field like data science?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
How do you think Frank overcame that?
Well, I think it comes down to a few things.
Okay.
First, Frank's humor never came across as dismissive or disrespectful of the field. He clearly had a genuine passion for technology, and that shone through even in his early satirical work.
So it was more about using humor as a tool to engage people rather than to mock the subject matter.
Exactly. And I think that approach resonated with people.
Okay.
It made them feel like they could learn about complex topics without feeling intimidated.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Frank used his unique background to his advantage. He found a way to leverage his communication skills and humor to make data science more approachable and ultimately building trust and credibility along the way.
Yeah. And that's what's so remarkable about franksworld.com.
What do you mean?
It exemplifies the democratizing power of the internet. It's a platform that's accessible to anyone with an internet connection, regardless of their background or level of expertise. It's providing valuable resources and information that can empower people to learn, grow, and even contribute to the advancement of these technologies.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
It's a far cry from the days of poring over dense textbooks or attending expensive conferences to get access to this kind of knowledge.
Absolutely. franksworld.com has helped to level the playing field,
Yeah.
making it possible for anyone with an interest in data science, AI, or technology to learn and participate in these fields.
And that accessibility brings its own set of challenges, right?
It does.
While it's great that we have so much information at our fingertips, how do we navigate this vast sea of content? How do we determine what's credible and what's not?
That's a really good question.
It's almost like having access to the world's largest library, but without a librarian to guide you.
Exactly.
It can be overwhelming.
It's a double-edged sword.
Mm.
We have this incredible opportunity to learn and explore,
Uh-huh.
but it also requires us to develop our critical thinking skills. We need to be able to evaluate information, question assumptions, and seek out multiple perspectives.
So franksworld.com has done a great job of making complex topics more accessible.
Yes.
But it also highlights the need for us to become more discerning consumers of information.
Absolutely.
We can't just passively absorb everything we read or hear. We have to actively engage with it.
Precisely. And that's a skill that's becoming increasingly crucial in the digital age.
Okay, so we've explored the evolution of franksworld.com, from its unconventional beginnings to its current status as a trusted resource for tech education.
Right.
We've also touched on the challenges and opportunities presented by the sheer volume of information available online.
Yes.
But what does this all mean for someone listening to this deep dive? Why should they care about franksworld.com and its journey?
That's a great question, and it's one that I think speaks to the heart of what makes franksworld.com so compelling.
Okay.
It offers a valuable lesson for all of us, regardless of our specific interests or career paths.
What's that?
It shows us that learning is a lifelong journey, and that we should always be open to new ideas and challenges.
It's about embracing curiosity, exploring new avenues, and never being afraid to step outside your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Frank's own journey from college humorist to data science expert is a perfect example of that.
Absolutely. And it highlights the importance of adaptability and continuous learning in today's rapidly changing world.
So franksworld.com isn't just about data science or AI.
No.
It's about the way we learn and grow and how we can stay ahead of the curve in a world that's constantly evolving.
And it's about using our unique skills and experiences to make a positive impact on the world, just like Frank did.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have one final question for you.
Okay.
franksworld.com clearly demonstrates how accessible information has become, especially about complex topics.
Right.
But how has this accessibility changed the way we learn and stay informed? What are your thoughts on the potential downsides of having so much information at our fingertips?
That's a thought-provoking question, and one that I think we need to address.
Okay.
While easy access to information is incredibly valuable, it also comes with certain risks.
Like what?
One of the biggest challenges we face is the potential for information overload.
Right. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Yeah.
There's just so much information coming at us from all directions
Exactly.
that it can be difficult to process it all.
And this can lead to a sense of overwhelm and even paralysis.
Wow.
We might feel like we need to know everything. That's simply not possible.
Right.
It's important to recognize that we can't be experts in everything, and that it's okay to focus on our areas of interest.
So one of the downsides of this information abundance is that it can actually hinder our ability to learn and grow if we're not careful.
Exactly. We need to be mindful of how we consume information and develop strategies for filtering out the noise and focusing on what's truly important to us.
That's a great point. And I think it speaks to the need for critical thinking skills in this digital age.
Yeah.
We can't just passively absorb everything we see online.
Right.
We have to be able to evaluate the credibility of sources, identify potential biases, and form our own informed opinions.
Absolutely. We need to be active participants in our learning process and not just passive recipients of information.
Okay, so we've identified one potential downside of this easy access to information. Information overload and the feeling that we need to know everything.
Right.
But what are some other challenges we might face?
Well, another concern is the rise of echo chambers and filter bubbles.
Tell me more about that.
With so much information available online, it's easy to fall into the trap of only consuming content that confirms our existing beliefs and biases.
It's right. Social media algorithms and personalized news feeds can create these echo chambers where we're only exposed to information that reinforces our existing worldview.
Exactly. And this can lead to a narrowing of our perspectives and a decreased willingness to consider alternative viewpoints.
So another challenge is the potential for intellectual isolation and a decline in critical thinking.
Exactly. It's important to be aware of these risks and actively seek out diverse perspective and challenge our own assumptions.
Okay, so we've talked about information overload and echo chambers.
Yeah.
What about the issue of misinformation and fake news?
Oh, that's a crucial question.
How has easy access to information exacerbated that problem?
The internet has undoubtedly made it easier for misinformation to spread rapidly and widely.
Yeah,
With anyone able to publish content online, it can be difficult to distinguish fact from fiction, especially when it comes to complex or emotionally charged topics.
that's right. We're bombarded with headlines and social media posts that often lack context or verification.
Yeah.
And it can be tempting to believe what we see without questioning it.
Exactly. And that's where critical thinking skills become so important.
Okay.
We need to be able to evaluate sources, assess the credibility of information, and cross-check facts before accepting them as truth.
So in addition to information overload and echo chambers,
Mm-hmm.
we also have to contend with the spread of misinformation and the erosion of trust in traditional sources of information.
It's true.
It's a complex landscape to navigate.
It is. But I think it's important to remember that these challenges are not insurmountable.
Okay.
By developing our critical thinking skills and adopting a discerning approach to information consumption, we can mitigate these risks and harness the power of the internet for good.
That's a great point. So while there are certainly downsides to the abundance of information available online, there are also strategies we can employ to navigate this new landscape effectively.
Absolutely. And I think franksworld.com, with its focus on clear communication, critical thinking, and community engagement, offers a valuable model for how we can approach learning in this digital age.
That's a great note to end on for this part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from the unexpected origins of franksworld.com to the challenges and opportunities of learning in the digital age. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve deeper into the content and impact of franksworld.com and explore how it's shaping the future of tech education.
So, it's interesting to consider how franksworld.com fits into the broader landscape of online learning.
Yeah, what do you mean?
There's been a huge surge in online courses, boot camps, all these resources for tech education.
Right, especially in fields like data science and AI.
Exactly. What sets franksworld.com apart in this crowded market?
That's a great question. There's certainly no shortage of options for those looking to learn about tech. What makes franksworld.com stand out for you?
I think one of the key differentiators is the community aspect.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Many online learning platforms are very transactional.
Yeah, how so?
You sign up for a course, you complete the modules, and you move on.
Right.
franksworld.com fosters a real sense of community, where people can connect with others who share their interests, ask questions, get feedback, and even collaborate on projects.
So it's less about just acquiring knowledge and more about becoming part of a larger conversation.
Exactly. And that's something that's often missing in the online learning space. It's that sense of belonging, of being part of a community of learners
Right.
that can really make a difference in terms of motivation and engagement.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between studying alone in a library
Yeah,
and attending a lively seminar where you
Yep.
can interact with the instructor and other students.
precisely. And that's something that Frank Levine seems to understand intuitively. He's created this platform that's not just about information delivery,
Right.
but about fostering genuine connections and a shared passion for learning.
And that ties back to Frank's own journey, right?
It does.
He went from creating content for a small niche audience to building this thriving online community.
Exactly.
He instinctively knew how to connect with people and create a sense of shared purpose.
Absolutely. And that's a valuable skill in any field, but especially in the world of technology where things are constantly changing and evolving. You need to be able to adapt, learn new things, and connect with others who are on the same journey.
Okay, so we've talked about the community aspect. What of the content itself?
Right.
We've touched on the blog post, the podcast, the tutorial videos. But what are some specific examples of the types of insights or knowledge that someone might gain from engaging with franksworld.com?
Well, one example that comes to mind is a blog post series Frank did on the practical applications of machine learning in various industries.
Oh,
He took a really complex topic
yeah.
and broke it down into digestible chunks,
Okay.
explaining how machine learning is being used in healthcare, finance, marketing, even entertainment.
Wow.
He didn't just talk about the technical aspects, but also the ethical considerations and potential impact on society.
So it's not just about understanding the how, but also the why and the what ifs.
Exactly. He goes beyond the surface level and really delves into the implications of these technologies, encouraging readers to think critically about their potential benefits and drawbacks.
And that's something I really appreciate about franksworld.com.
Yeah.
It's not just about presenting information,
Right.
but about prompting thoughtful discussion and engagement.
Absolutely.
It's about helping people develop a deeper understanding of these technologies and their impact on our lives.
And that's evident in the way Frank approaches his podcast as well.
Oh, so.
He doesn't just interview experts and ask them technical questions.
Okay.
He really tries to get at the heart of what makes these technologies so compelling.
Yeah.
And what they mean for the future.
You mentioned earlier an episode of Data Driven
Yes.
that tackled the ethics of using AI in healthcare.
Right.
What were some of the key takeaways from that discussion?
Well, one of the main points raised was the potential for bias in AI algorithms.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly when it comes to healthcare decisions. If an algorithm is trained on biased data, it can perpetuate and even amplify those biases, leading to unequal treatment and potentially harmful outcomes.
That's a really important consideration. We often think of technology as being objective, but if the data it's based on is flawed, the technology itself will reflect those flaws.
Exactly. And that's why it's so crucial to have these discussions about ethics and responsibility.
Right.
Especially as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we need to be aware of the potential pitfalls and work to mitigate them.
So franksworld.com is not just about providing technical knowledge,
No.
but also about fostering critical thinking and ethical awareness.
Exactly.
When it comes to the use of these technologies, it's about empowering people to be informed citizens who can make informed decisions about the role of technology in our society.
Precisely. And that's what makes it such a valuable resource in today's world. We're facing increasingly complex challenges, and we need to be equipped with the knowledge and skills to navigate them effectively. Platforms like franksworld.com can play a crucial role in that process.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this deep dive and they're intrigued by what they're hearing, what's the best way for them to get started with franksworld.com? Should they just dive headfirst into the blog, or is there a more strategic approach?
Well, I think it depends on their interests and learning style.
Okay.
If they're completely new to the world of data science and AI, I'd recommend starting with the Data Driven podcast.
Okay.
It provides a great overview of the field and covers a wide range of topics in an accessible way.
So data-driven is a good entry point for beginners.
Yeah.
What about someone who's already familiar with the basics and wants to delve deeper into specific areas?
Then I'd recommend exploring the blog and tutorial videos.
Okay.
Frank has written extensively on a variety of topics, from machine learning algorithms to data visualization techniques.
Cool.
And the tutorial videos provide step-by-step guidance on how to apply these concepts in practice.
So there's something for everyone, regardless of their level of expertise. What about the community aspect? How can someone get involved in the franksworld.com community?
Well, the website has a forum where people can ask questions, share insights, and connect with other members.
Okay.
They also have a presence on social media platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn,
Right.
where Frank regularly posts updates and engages in discussions.
So there are multiple avenues for connecting with like-minded individuals and becoming part of the larger conversation.
Yeah.
It's really impressive how Frank has managed to build this thriving community
It is.
around what might seem like a niche topic to some.
It speaks to the power of passion and authenticity.
Yeah.
Frank's genuine enthusiasm for technology and his commitment to making it accessible to everyone are evident in everything he does.
Right.
And that's something that resonates with people.
That's a great point. Passion is contagious.
It is.
And Frank's enthusiasm for these topics is definitely infectious.
Uh-huh.
It makes you want to learn more, even if you didn't think you were interested in data science or AI before.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of franksworld.com. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities and inspires people to explore topics they might never have considered before.
So we've talked about the content, the community,
Yeah.
the impact of franksworld.com.
Right.
But what about the future? Where do you see franksworld.com going from here?
Well, I think the potential is limitless. As technology continues to evolve at a rapid pace, the need for accessible and engaging educational resources will only grow. And I think franksworld.com is uniquely positioned to meet that need.
What makes you say that? What specific advantages do you see franksworld.com having in this evolving landscape?
I think one of the key advantages is Frank's ability to adapt and innovate.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to experiment with new formats and platforms, and he's constantly looking for ways to improve the user experience.
Gotcha.
For example, he recently launched a series of live webinars where he dives deeper into specific topics and answers questions from the audience in real time.
So he's staying ahead of the curve and finding creative ways to engage with the community. What else do you see as a potential growth area for franksworld.com?
I think there's a huge opportunity to expand the reach of the platform to a more global audience. Data science and AI are global phenomena,
Yeah,
and there's a growing demand for educational resources in languages other than English.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
FranksWorld.com has the potential to become a truly international hub for tech education,
Right.
connecting people from all over the world who share a passion for these topics.
Exactly. And I think that's something Frank is actively working towards. He's already started translating some of the content into other languages,
Oh, wow.
and he's exploring partnerships with organizations in different countries.
So it's not just about scaling the existing content,
No.
but about creating a more inclusive and diverse community that reflects the global nature of these fields.
Absolutely. And that's something I'm really excited to see unfold. I think franksworld.com has the potential to make a real difference in the world by empowering people from all walks of life with the knowledge and skills they need to succeed in the digital age.
That's a powerful vision, and it's inspiring to see someone like Frank Lavigne leading the charge.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show that with passion, creativity, and a commitment to accessibility, one person can truly make a difference. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have one final question for you.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the benefits of franksworld.com and its potential for growth, but are there any potential downsides or challenges that you see on the horizon?
That's a great question, and it's important to consider both the opportunities and the challenges when evaluating any platform or initiative. One potential challenge for franksworld.com is maintaining its unique voice and identity as it grows and expands.
That's an interesting point. As the platform attracts a larger audience, there's a risk of it becoming more generic and losing the personal touch that makes it so appealing.
Exactly. It's important for Frank to stay true to his vision and values, even as the platform evolves and adapts to meet the needs of a growing community.
So the challenge is to scale without sacrificing authenticity.
Precisely. And that's a delicate balance to strike. It requires careful planning, thoughtful execution, and a deep understanding of the community that franksworld.com serves.
Okay, so that's one potential challenge.
Right.
Maintaining the unique identity and personal touch as the platform grows.
Hmm.
Are there any other concerns or potential downsides that you see?
Another potential challenge is ensuring the quality and consistency of the content as the platform expands.
How so?
Right now, Frank is personally involved in creating and curating most of the content.
Okay.
But as the platform grows, he'll need to rely more on other contributors.
That's a valid concern. Maintaining quality control can be difficult when you're working with a larger team of contributors.
Exactly. It's important to establish clear guidelines and standards for content creation and to have a system in place for reviewing and approving content before it's published.
So the challenge is to maintain quality without stifling creativity or innovation.
Precisely. It's about finding the right balance between structure and flexibility.
Okay, so we've identified two potential challenges.
Uh-huh.
Maintaining authenticity as the platform grows.
Right.
And ensuring quality control as more contributors come on board.
Right.
Are there any other potential downsides or concerns that you foresee?
Well, one other potential challenge is staying ahead of the curve in a rapidly evolving technological landscape.
Yeah.
Data science and AI are constantly changing.
Yeah.
And what's relevant today might be outdated tomorrow.
Right.
franksworld.com needs to constantly adapt and evolve its content to keep pace with the latest trends and technologies.
That's a crucial point. It's not enough to just create great content.
No.
You have to constantly update and refresh it to ensure it remains relevant and valuable.
Exactly. And that requires ongoing research experimentation and a willingness to embrace new ideas and approaches.
So the challenge is to stay innovative and relevant in a constantly changing field. It's like running a marathon, but the finish line keeps moving further away.
That's a great analogy. And it speaks to the dynamism and excitement of the world of data science and AI. It's a field that's full of possibilities and challenges, and it's constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And it's clear that franksworld.com is committed to being at the forefront of that evolution, providing accessible and engaging resources for those who want to learn, grow, and make their mark on the world.
Absolutely. And it's exciting to see where the journey will lead next.
Well, on that note of anticipation and excitement, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive into franksworld.com with some final thoughts and reflections on what we've learned. All right, so welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that little break. We've spent this deep dive exploring franksworld.com,
Yeah.
a website that is much more than just a collection of tech tutorials and blog posts.
Right?
It's really a reflection of how we learn and stay informed in the digital age.
It's true. franksworld.com really highlights the evolving landscape of knowledge acquisition, We've gone from relying on gatekeepers,
like universities and publishers.
exactly, to having this vast ocean of information available at our fingertips.
And as we discussed earlier, that's not without its downsides.
No, definitely not.
We talked about information overload, echo chambers, the spread of misinformation.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle.
It's almost like we need a new set of skills just to navigate this digital world effectively.
You're absolutely right. Critical thinking has never been more crucial.
Absolutely.
We need to be able to evaluate sources, identify biases, and discern fact from fiction. It's not just about what we know, but how we know it.
Exactly. And FranksWorld.com, with its emphasis on clear communication and thoughtful analysis, seems to be a good example of how we can approach learning in this new information landscape.
I agree. It encourages curiosity, critical thinking, and a willingness to engage with complex topics. It's not about spoon-feeding information, but about empowering individuals to become active learners.
Exactly. So to wrap things up, if you are even remotely curious about the world of data science, AI, or simply how technology is shaping our world, FranksWorld.com is definitely worth checking out.
I agree.
But as we conclude our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with something to ponder.
Okay.
We've talked about how FranksWorld.com makes complex topics accessible.
Right.
But what about those who don't have access to the internet or the resources to engage these online platforms? How do we ensure that everyone has the opportunity to learn and participate in this increasingly digital world?
That's a really important question, and it highlights the issue of digital equity.
Yeah.
Access to technology and the internet is no longer a luxury.
Right.
It's a necessity for full participation in modern society.
Absolutely.
We need to work towards closing the digital divide and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to develop the skills and knowledge they need to thrive in the 21st century.
That's a powerful message to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into FranksWorld.com. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and remember that knowledge is most powerful when it's shared